We are. Any guesses?
Live.
Are we live?
Fully live.
Perfect. We are live. Hopefully, we are live. So today, for some people who might be surprised to see why are there only 3 cards, it's because while running an engineering company, we were not able to figure out a way to log in to a SaaS product. But that's okay. We're here, and as soon as we figure out how to log in, we'll have the fourth one join in as well. Awesome. Let's begin. Oh, he's here. He's here. He's here. We've not had the opportunity to do his sound check. But he's in. And
Yeah.
is all working.
Yes.
Perfect. We are live, huh, Jay? We're live. So,
Yeah. And I am so sorry. I'll be apologetic in the live stream as well. I'm so sorry for the technical glitch I faced. Yeah.
no,
And
that's okay. It's people like Harsh who built the technology, so not your fault. So thank you for joining in, and hello and welcome to Momentum Office Hours. My name is Yash, and I'm joined by my co-founders Harsh, Jai, and Kaushik to discuss topic of the week: using AI for accelerating product development. The goal is to provide you with actionable insights and practical strategies that you can apply to your own products. Throughout this session, we encourage you to engage with us by asking your questions and sharing your thoughts. This is a fantastic opportunity to learn from each other and gain new insights that can help drive your SaaS initiatives forward. So let's get started. Jai, Kaushik, Harsh, how are we doing today?
Yes. Doing great today.
Doing great. Awesome.
Yes.
Excited. So here's my question. Like first question to Harsh. You already have AI. Why is my product still not ready?
Our big product.
that's the challenge, right? When making something gets easier, figuring out what to make becomes more and more challenging. But that's interesting. Good to know. So while all of us are here, I think let's get started with this, right? What
Yes.
From a product development standpoint, if I'm building a product today, how should I think about AI to accelerate my product development, right? So what are the places in a software development life cycle where AI can come in, play a role, make things maybe more efficient, make certain things more redundant? Maybe if you can start with that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So, if we talk about the software development cycle, right? So, firstly, once we get the design from the design team, right? So, at that time, we making the architecture, right? Okay, what are the clouds? What database we are using? What are the tech stack that we are using, right? So, after we decided all these things, right? Once we start the development, right? So at that time, just consider for some of the features, right, you have to write some code and it will take around half an hour to write some small function, right? Then after so in this phase, once you write the function, right, so there are so many things that we don't know, such like whether the function, the logic that we have write, right, is correct or not, right? The code quality that we have write is correct or not, whether there are any vulnerability or security that we have missed out, all these things. So in each every stage of writing the code, right, so it's general thing. Developer write the code, at that time they miss all these things, right? So at that time, if any tool we can say or any helper that is available that help us to tell, okay, you have missed this type of things during the development, right? So it can increase the development of the speed. We can say reduce the error, bug fixing, all these time things, right? So in this we can say the cycle of, right? So when we start to writing the code, right, at that time it will be help us to if we use the AI, right, it help us to write the code in the standard way. Okay, first things, once the code will be written, right, on the second stage is the set like the code quality, right? The whether we have followed the best practice or not, right? If there are some checklist that we should follow for any tech stack, right, whether we have follow or not. So code quality that can be checked with using some AI tool, right? And the third, we can say after writing the code, after if we have all followed all the things, right? Then after third is the code security, right? That like the whether any vulnerabilities can be possible or not, right? SQL injections can be happen or not with particular this code base. So we can check the code security tool. So we can say in three stages we can use the AI to in product development to increase the development of product. We can say the increase the security of any products, and yeah, right. So in this way we can use the AI.
Got it.
So, Harsh, is there any specific challenge that any company would face if they are, let's say, trying the traditional way out and now they are planning to utilize AI, having maximum setup for the product development, utilizing AI? Is there any specific challenge they might face at the earlier point?
Yeah, so on the earlier point, if about the challenge, we talk about the challenge, right? So first is the currently there are many tools that are available open source, right? But the when we talk about the standards, right? The coding standards they we need to follow, right? So many libraries that are available, but sorry, I just can you just elaborate what type of challenge are you talking? But I just not understand.
No, so at times, so like when companies trying to integrate, AI into their product development workflows, at that time, just wanted to have an understanding, are there any sort of challenges that they face at the earlier level? Because initially there was some traditional setup which was there and all the code base was being generated on there from
Okay, okay.
libraries in their own side.
Okay, I
Yeah.
understood. Yeah. So okay, about the change, so it's like we have we can say about the challenge, right? So there are some tools, right? Such like the GitHub Copilot, right? Or OpenAI Copex, right? They are the tools. So if you want to integrate whether the code already established or whether it is legacy code or you are just develop the start new code, right? So integrations can be very easy, right? You just have to do sign up and there are some scripts, right, that you have to embed in your code, or either the integration is also possible. Like if you are using the VS code, right, to writing the code, so you can integrate your this Copilot or the Copex in your code base, right? And then after you can select the code or you can select the file, okay, where you want to integrate the AI, right? So on the initial base, if we talk about the challenge, then I think one of the is the pricing things that can be challenging. The price will be high, but integrations are the in integrations part. I don't think there can be any challenge. Yeah.
All right.
So Harsh, that I was thinking about this point. So when developers are trying to specifically do product development or to develop SaaS products, especially, this is something which we have also noticed while designing, as well as something we have discussed previously also, that a lot of patterns with respect to SaaS product are fixed, right? Like you know that there's going to be an integration page, you know that there's going to be teams, roles, and responsibilities. You know there are certain things that are fixed, and we can expect it to have. So so how does these AI co-pilots, there are many in the market currently, so help you to work with the boilerplate set of code base that you can down with? Do they aid with it, or do they suggest? How does that work? And that's one. And second
Okay.
thing is, in the case then you did mention about error reduction. I think that is one big plus point with respect to having Copilot part of your development. I mean, along with your developers. So how could you brief a little bit more about that error reduction?
Yeah, sure. So if we use any Copilot, right? So it can help us in three ways. Okay. So first is the writing the code, right? So like the in Chat GPT, right? We just write the prompt, right? And you can get the answer of any prompt, right? So the same way you can write some your problem statement set. Like the you can say I want to write the function. They will do some mail sending to the Mailchimp, right? You can just write the prompt, and this Copilot can write the code for you, right? The whatever language that you have decided. Okay, the first use case that can be is the writing the code by using just prompt. Okay. Second use case that Copilot can use for is the you can say the auto suggestion. right? But like in the mail, right? If we write the hope, if we just write the hope, right? So we can auto get the suggestion, right? Hope you are doing great, right? So in Copilot, the second use case is like they can help us to write the code snippet. You just have to write some initial stage, right? So like the in coding standard, we can say that there is a for loop, there is a if else, right? We just have to write some of the few letters. Then automatically the other remaining code can be written, right? The second use case is the this one, right? And the third is the one where they can detect the bugs or errors that can be increased by using this code, right? So like you already have written this code, right? And then after this Copilot can tell you, okay, with this code that this type of error can be possible. Such like you can miss some if else condition, right? Or you can write you have written the logic wrong, right? So before these things go on production, this AI or Copilot tool that help us before they tell us before, okay, these errors or these bugs can be generated using this code, right? So with this Copilot, these three we can say mainly use cases that can be achieved, right? And the first the problem that we discussed, right? The patterns, or we can say the list of standards that already have predefined, right? And how AI can help us to follow this thing, right? So within this Copilot tool, we can write our own script, right? So like we can say the input size can be this, right? The intent size can be a 4 spaces, right? If we want to write some function, right? So we can define okay, maximum length of any function can be the we can say 100 lines, right? So you can write your own logic here, and then AI tool can read this logic, and whenever you are writing this code, right? So they are constantly checking whether these rules are following or not. So in this way, we can, if we have some boilerplate, right, where we define all the restrictions or rules or all the you can say standards that needs to be they follow, right? So that AI tool can read that, and they're constantly giving some notification or we can suggestions. Okay, you have missed this standard or these things. So in this way, developer can constantly know, okay, I have missed these things. So before they are going to code review and their things are going again, right? So during this development, we can reduce these things. Okay, yeah. And did you get this right? Did you get the answer of your questions, right, Kaushik?
Yeah, yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Okay, great, great. Yeah. And second thing is that we mentioned is the error, right? The how. So as I told you, this Copilot can read the logic which we written, and they already give us the suggestions. Okay, this type of bugs and error can be possible first, right? Even after this Copilot can miss these things, right? So when we are going code review, right? So at that time, also the AI, not Copilot, which can be used Copilot. There are other tools also, such like the Solar Cube, right? That can be useful in code review process, right? So in code review process, this AI can read the logic that we have written, and they will give the answers. And like this is a vulnerability that can be we have missed out, right? So we can say there are two different things. Copilot is the one that help us to write the code in best standard way, right? And the other things that we have integrated in the code review process, right? Where we can find the vulnerabilities or any security issues that we have missed. In this way, we can make sure the code that we have written, right? It's they follow standard best practice, and it's we can say the not 100% bug free, but we have not missed any big vulnerability before going on production. Yeah.
Got it. The other piece that I want to understand from a business standpoint is let's say I have a product and I have 4 or 5 engineers, mixture of full stack, front end and back end, and I want so they are coding right now. They're using co-pilots. They're here, and I'm hearing about certain tools and platforms that AI can help us do A, B, and C, but in a structured way. If I if I if I'm looking for my team of 4 or 5 engineers in a structured way to transition from human level, like human code writing, to human plus AI code writing, what are some steps and what are some tools that I should start with for transitioning from human to human plus AI sort of creation of product across design, across requirement gathering, across writing the code, across all of those.
Yeah. So according to me, so on the initial stage, right, we have not give access of AI tools to the developer. Okay. So I am not talking about the design thing. Okay. So we start once development is started, right? So initial base, if you want to use AI, right, to analysis code or for other things, then what we can do, we can put these AI things on the first step on the code review side. Okay, we can say where we have created a pipeline, and no, where once the developer have pushed the code, right? After that, in the next step is a code review, right? So in this step, we can integrate our AI tool, so that in this way AI can read the code and they will give you suggestions to the developer. So in this way, two things are happen. Okay, first is the developer logic can be can be rechecked, and they are not using the AI, right? So they can use their own logic, so that it will help us in future to build the logic in good way, right? And the AI will give suggestions so that they can implement this. And the other we can say help that can help us is the manager, like the one who write who review the code, right? So it can save much time for them before, because once before they will get the code right to review, before that AI have checked that all these things, the small logic or small standards that needs to be followed, right? So so on the first stage, I can say on the code review cycle, we have first integrate the AI on the for the starting phase, so that and the manager and the board developer that can help us both to build their the logic great way, right? Once we can say now the we can say now we have a good standard product, right? They have built, and it is going on live on production. They have we can say thousand of requests per second out. And after that, it can't at that time we have to integrate this AI in the code writing tool. We can say the yeah. So because now it's very costly, right? To we can say without AI, developer can write the code. Not write the code, but AI can help them to write the code, to check the logic during the development thing, so that it will take much time, because now we need fast development and the best development. We need the good quality of the code, right? At that time, it we can integrate the AI in the code development things. Yeah. And once all these things done, then the third can be is the we have to integrate in the we have to integrate AI in the on the server, okay, so deployment side, right? Once we have we now okay, there are the huge traffic on server, right? At that time we need the monitoring, we need the analysis of the APIs or health check of our server, right? So now, because at that time we can't afford to crash our server, right? So we need some tool, or they will constantly monitor our traffic, and they will before any server downs, before any crashing, they will before that they will ping us, or they will say notification, okay, these things are happening on server, please check them, right? So in this way, we have to integrate AI in this development stage.
Correct. So you'd say that bringing in introducing AI in a structured format would be firstly at the time of like wherever the pipeline is, and then you work your way to bringing and introducing AI into earlier and earlier stages of development, and then finally sort of for server monitoring as well.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, and because when we have good traffic, right? So at that time, we have set like the tools, set like the New Relic, right? They will give us the performance, right? Okay, how our server is working, what are the number of requests that are coming, right? So we have all the data, but now it's we have so much logs, right? Per such like we have a thousand of requests, right? So we have so much log data. Now we need someone to analyze all these logs, all these requests, and give some insight or give some prediction. That like we can say around this 2 hour, our server have high traffic, right? And before we can say around the other hours we have very less traffic, right? So this type of configuration, this type of information that will help, that will save so much money, and also they will give some insights that like now we know, okay, this within this hour we have high traffic, right? So during this time we can change the server configurations to handle the traffic. So in this way that can help us to get a more insight of our server things.
Got it.
Yeah.
Great. So, yeah, I mean, these are great insights, Harsh. Thanks for sharing all these. And there have been multiple doubts. So, most of your answers have, I mean, all the answers that you've given already clears out a lot of things like what AI can do, especially in terms of product development teams, what it can replace or what it can optimize it. I had a question with respect to, like, more related to can it optimize the work of product manager? For instance, or like just to give you an example, like can AI assist in optimizing resource allocation within the development teams? If let's say there are some deadlines or timelines that are supposed to be met, and product manager is a team, but then he or she is confused with respect to what sort of resource allocation needs to be there to cover this part of development within this much amount of time.
Are you saying कि, if we have crunch of resource, right, then AI can
But
help us?
but there's a challenge, right? So a product manager doesn't give timelines, doesn't do resource allocation,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah, that,
product managers will revolt. They won't be assigning tasks. They'll just figure out what needs to be done. There typically is a tech lead or an engineering or someone who may not have that designation,
yeah,
but someone
yeah,
from the
right.
engineering
Maybe not.
team themselves who will figure out the resource allocation. But sort of extending the question further from what Jay is saying is can can AI sort of help figure out and this is sci-fi level stuff where who's best fit in the engineering team to work on what part of the code? Like, can it do reverse where AI says, okay, this type of work has previously been executed by Harsh, and so from an work allocation standpoint, maybe if I'm the tech lead, it should prompt me saying, this piece of work should be done by Harsh or something. Is that a possibility?
Okay. Yeah. So in my little experience, मतलब, I don't have any tool. I don't know any tool that can help us, such like in this allocation. Yeah, but we can say such like the we can say we can do one thing, right? Such like the we can use AI to give some skill set, right, to the developer. So like the ones where AI can help us to read the code, right? They will give you some good metrics. So like the whether this code quality is what, these are 4 by 4 out of 5 star, right? So we can use these statistics to decide whether this particular developer is good in which tech stack. So like they are good in React or Node.js or on database care, whether they are able to write the query in optimized way or not, right? So in this, we can say we can use this AI to define the skill set of any person, right? And according to this skill set, we can use the resource allocation easily. Yeah. So in this way, we can use the AI to define the skill set, define the we can say the best outcome that we can get from our developer. Yeah.
Got it.
But I think
Interesting.
adding on to that, based on what Harsh has explained so far, if everyone is using a similar co-pilot and if it is giving the same kind of suggestions to everyone in the team, then does it mean that there is a common coding standard and a coding style that is being maintained that makes it much more easy for the team to work around? Right?
Of course, yes, yes. So yeah, so as I told you now, we can. So there is a by default. There are some standards, right? Our co-pilot know, right? And they are give suggestions according to that, right? We can also tell co-pilot to these are some standards that we are following, right? So according to our, we can say the our best practices. So this Copilot can also train by this, so that it will be great for organization, so that everyone have some what in organization, whatever solutions they are getting, the standards, or the we can say the uh, best practice, they are all get the same thing, so that it will be great for organization, so that even if we can say the resource can be allocated to different project, right? So they are seeing the core standard, core structure in the similar way they are already doing the work. So it is easy for a developer to understand the code. They can see the good documentation or comments on the each functions. Yeah, so in this way it will be great for organization.
So if AI is writing the code, if it is reviewing the code, if it is adhering to the guidelines, if it is finding out issues, and it is also helping in preventing certain issues. So if it is doing all of why do we need developers or engineers?
Right,
Like,
right.
what is the purpose? And I know that we still need. I just want to know as to, like, what are your predictions in the sense that what will in the short term future, so let's say 2-3 years later, what do you think the software developer or the software engineer role will evolve into?
Hmm. Yeah. So mostly you have heard, right? The developer are doing just copy paste from Stack Overflow, right? You have heard that, but it needs some good skill set, right? To copy paste the code is fine, but then after you have to put your logic, right, to update some of the things, because you never get the same logic from anywhere, right? You can get some basic standard, or you can say basic logic, right? And then after you have to put your own logic, right? So similar way the AI can write the code for you, right? But you have to give some good prompt, right? So you need some good skill set to give some proper prompt, so that you will get the good output, right? So the similar way, even if AI can give you a list of errors, right, that are need to be fixed, right? But only the developer, right? So even if AI can fix some of the things, but still you need AI, you need developer to fix some of the errors. It can be possible that they will AI can do all these things, right? So in this way, we can say in future it does not replace the software developer, but it's required that software developer has need good skill set to use AI in their daily life, to write the code, we can say to analyze the code, or finding the bugs, or in the whole cycle of process, right? But they need to understand how AI can help them to grow. Without AI, even without AI, if they are doing the work in 2 days, right, and if they know AI can help us to do the same work in 1 day, even with good standard, right? So it needs to be they need to be converted in the second phase, right? Otherwise, they otherwise, yeah, so in this way.
Got it.
Hmm.
Yes, I,
I
I
have
think there was a good analogy that sorry, Kaushik, you were saying.
sorry to interrupt, but I thought I have a very non-techie answer for that. I was going to say that why would Boeing need a pilot when they still have an autopilot mode of flying the plane?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there is one interesting
Fair.
point. I read it somewhere that after autopilot mode, the technology came into planes, is when the pace at which they serve the people have increased significantly. Right, so there's still a pilot in the flight who is monitoring, who is looking everything. But I guess yeah.
Yeah, right,
Correct.
right.
And so there's a good analogy, right? So that I came across, which was essentially, I'm old enough to know of a time when there was no software in accounting, right? So I've seen people create books of accounts without a lot of software, and so the analogy that I sort of came across was what software did to every other industry, which is accounting, legal, finance, whatever, HR, whatever it is. Um, what software did to all of those industries is what AI is doing to engineering, like product development, right? So like you would, for to manage a team of 30 pre-software, you would need 3 HRs to do leave management and to figure out what compensation and stuff like that. with software we can have one part-time HR, because we have a software that sort of is an HRMS, right? And so it just makes things better, more efficient, more optimal. And so like what software did to everything else is what AI is doing to software engineers is interesting way of thinking about it. So we are nearing the time to end this conversation, and so before we part, Harsh, can you give us some names of AI tools, AI products that if my software or our software engineering team should look at?
Yeah. So you can say if we want to help in development side, right? So like the writing the code or they will give some good they will give some error, right? So for that we can use the GitHub Copilot. We have Cursor, we have Deep Code, or can also use OpenAI. I think OpenAI, Corex, or something like that. Okay, so there are some good platforms that can help us in writing the code. Okay, so once we write the code, right? So at that time we need to test our software, right? So for that, like the we need to write unit testing, right? We need we need to test our website or software in the all the device, right? So for that we can use the solar we can say the uh, solar cube, yeah, solar cube software that we can use, that we just like as I told you, that we can integrate this tool in the pipeline for the code review, so that they review the code, and they will give you some these are the things that we have miss out, these are standards that we have miss out, right? And also they will give us a vulnerability. So on the core testing, then we can use the Solar Cube, and I think the Test AI is also the one of the tool that we can integrate. Yeah, and on the if we talk about the deployment side, right, where we need to check the health of our server, we need to monitor our APIs things, right? So for that we are using the New Relic, or we can see the data log that help us to analyze all the logs that are coming to server and give some good insight. So on the server side, we can use the New Relic or Datalog. Yeah, there are some of the. These are not the AI tools actual, but they
Mhm.
have the tools. And once AI will come, they have also started to use the AI in their products. Yeah.
Got it.
Yes.
Awesome. That was a laundry list. That was longer than I was expecting. But for what we'll do is we'll link all of these tools and platforms wherever it is that you're watching, whether it is YouTube or LinkedIn. We'll be adding them in the comments. So you'd be or the description. So you'd be able to click on the link and explore those tools and platforms. We don't own or run any of them, but we use some of them for sure. I hope, Harsh, we use some of them at Momentum as
Yes.
well,
Yes.
right? Yeah. So good to know. But thank you everyone for joining in, and see you in our next streams. Up until that time, please, wherever you are, consider following, consider subscribing. Um, that will help us take these conversations to more and more people in the future. If you found this content helpful, please consider sharing it as well. Thanks again. Until next time.